Mr. Speaker. I've been lucky enough to know Larry most of my life. His sister Helen and my mother taught together. They went to college together. And I've known Millie and Gus and the Patrias for almost as long as I won't tell you how old I am. And Larry has always been the same, this wonderful, caring, gentleman, loyal, wonderful man. But yet very passionate, very, very strong in support for his community, serving on the town council, on the zoning commission, and then here for decades. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank the family for allowing him to serve in all that capacity, which is something he loved to do, but as we all know how difficult it is on the family when we're not there that much. And they supported Larry. Gus was his campaign, his treasurer for all of his campaigns. Millie was always by his side, as were Joe and Millie too, and helping raise money in the days when we had to raise a lot of money. So thank you all, and to the children and the grandchildren. We admired and loved your father and grandfather very much. He was passionate on in a lot of areas. The most compelling to me was his common sense, always talking about, Laura, why do you want solar? It costs so much money. Biodiesel is the way to go. And like Fred and Jason Perillo had said, when you got in the car with Larry, it was an hour where he was working you over. But those were all the really good times that when he would talk about his inability to keep weight on. Now, if you knew Larry, if there was an event with food, Larry was there. Larry would inform the whole side of the aisle where the receptions were. And towards the end, when he wasn't able to keep on the weight and he was languishing a little bit, he wasn't his normal, amusing and happy self because, he knew his time was limited. Yet what he did was he served this caucus well. He served this state well because that was Larry Miller. Some of the things that he, again, we're so passionate about, and Ben mentioned it, was Gustav Whitehead, First in Flight. I mean, will you ever forget? Larry would tell us on rides here and there that he was getting calls from all across the country. People were threatening him. Who did he think he was? That the Wright brothers were the first in flight. Who is this Gustav Whitehead guy? But it didn't matter because Larry knew he was right. He was a man of conviction, a man of his word. Your word is your bond. Let us all never, ever forget that. When you commit to something in this chamber, when you commit to something to your colleagues, your word is your bond. Larry's memory, Larry's life filled that. We would talk on the way up or home a lot about his family, of whom he loved very deeply. He was very, very proud of his children. We talked about Vermont because we shared the love of Vermont, both families having houses there. Again, I talked about the biodiesel part. And Larry's strong embrace of technology, not. The fax machine in our office is lonely without Larry, and we are lonely too and miss him greatly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.